Hey everybody, so today I just arrived in Albania, in the capital city of Tirana, and I'll be exploring the Balkans for the next 2 weeks. But right before I flew here, I read a news article saying that Kanye West is getting his own stadium here. It's only a temporary stadium, and it's gonna, hold on, I just saw a rat. Yeah, it's currently being built, and it'll be knocked down after he's done. So that's what I'm going to go check out tomorrow. Yeah, he recently got banned from the United Kingdom for some of the things he may or may not have said. But over here in Albania, they do not give him a fuck. They just let him perform. As long as you don't say anything nice about Serbs or whatever, everything flies here. I looked it up on the map, and the stadium is called Eagle Stadium. It's kind of on the outskirts of town, and it's also right by the city's bus station. So I think once I'm done checking it out, I'll take a day trip to another town. On my right, you can see that Tirana has its own pyramid. It's a really small pyramid, but it's a pyramid nonetheless. And it's not one of those ancient pyramids that were built by slaves. It's one of the more modern pyramids that were, I don't know, built by underpaid people. A lot of Tirana has been built recently, including that skyscraper way over there. It's bigger at the top than it is on the bottom. Prior to the stadium being built, the largest stadium in Albania could seat, I think it was 25,000 people. And so this new stadium is supposed to seat like 60,000 people or something like that. Yeah, we'll see if that many people show up to his concert this summer. I'm hoping that I don't get told off by security for filming the stadium in progress. It seems like the type of thing that I would get told off by security for. Well, I must have come here in the very early stages of development, because this is where the stadium is supposed to be. As you can see, there's not much here. I'm starting to think that this concert might not actually happen. Apparently it's happening 2 months from now, and they've got nothing to show for it. This is where Google Maps says it's going to happen. I'm looking over the lot one more time just to make sure there's nothing I'm missing, but doesn't seem like there is. Well, I managed to find an entrance to this plot of land, but I've also seen a car, so I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Well, that about does it for the Kanye West portion of the video. Now it's time to explore other parts of Albania. I just arrived in Durrës, which is the second largest city in Albania, and it's only about an hour away from Tirana. I'll be here for the afternoon, and we'll see what I find. Over here in the center of town, you can see the remains of what was the Durrës Amphitheater. Now, Albania actually used to be part of the Roman Empire, which is why the Romans built this about 2,000 years ago. And obviously, not a whole lot remains of it, but you can see it. Wasn't expecting to find this here. Turns out you can actually enter what's left of the amphitheater. And there's enough here to, keep it as a good tourist attraction. Not going to get much else use out of it. This is the type of place that 2,000 years ago, some guy would be chilling around in right before getting murdered by a lion. As you can see, Durrës is a beach city. That is the Adriatic Sea right over there, and way off in the distance, there's Italy. And so when Italy invaded Albania back in World War II, this was one of the places that they, did it in. But as far as I can tell, Italy and Albania are friends these days. That's at least what I've heard from people. stray dogs hanging around. Keep an eye on them just to make sure they're not doing anything suspicious. According to the map, there are some concrete bunkers nearby. And for context, Albania used to be a very isolated country for much of the 20th century. And the leader at the time thought that it'd be a good idea to build a bunch of bunkers. And so now Albania has bunkers everywhere. I found this abandoned building right next to the bunker. And looks like there's glass everywhere, so I don't know how much I want to walk around here. There's the bunker up ahead, as well as one over there. And then there's a cow. Looks like there's not much to the bunkers these days. If you go inside of it, it's mostly just filled with trash. Albania had a king called King Zog back in the day, and this was his villa. This villa is part tourist destination, part abandoned building. There hasn't really been much restoration since the time that King Zog used to live here. But so far, so nice. Be careful where you step here. There was a woman in that villa who seemed to be taking bridal pictures for her wedding. I guess that's the place you do it in Albania. Well, I'm back in Tirana for the day. When I took the bus from Durrës back to Tirana yesterday, I was one of the last people on the bus, and so I had to stand the whole time. That really took a lot out of me, so I slept for like 10 hours last night. So today's gonna be a pretty chill day. The last real meal that I've eaten was a pizza that I had yesterday afternoon, and to be honest, I'm still kind of held over from that, but I should probably get something to eat soon. When I go to a new country, I usually like to learn the local words for hello and thank you, but those words in Albanian are each like 5 syllables long, and I don't have that sort of memory anymore, so instead I'm just going to be rude. Check it out. The pharmacy has a vending machine. Here is some street art of Albania and Kosovo being friends. So Kosovo is the neighboring country that used to be part of Serbia, but it has a majority Albanian ethnic population, and so it broke away recently. If you look closely, that guy has a dick in his mouth. Over there is Albania's flag. It's one of the most badass flags you can have, except for Mozambique's. That one has an AK-47 on it. And over here, you have some communist art. And over there, you have some capitalist art. All of the Transformer boxes around town have different cool things on them. This one has Walter White. And this one has Peppa Pig. I've got to admit, this is probably the worst I've ever been affected by jet lag. It was only like a 13-hour flight over here when you combine the 2 flights, and I got a good amount of sleep on them, but like, I'm just tired as shit. This doesn't normally happen to me. I found another bunker. Looks like you can actually go inside this one. Let's check it out. This is about what I expected. I found a nice, comfortable bench in this public park and slept there for about an hour. Starting to realize that I give off homeless vibes. It is now my last day in Tirana, and I want to check out a mountain that's very close by. It's only like, I don't know, within 10 miles of here. My original plan was to take a cable car to the top, but I did some research online and it is closed on Tuesdays. And today is a Tuesday, so I have to figure out what to do. I'm eating at an American restaurant, and this is my American breakfast. I've been doing some research, and I found a backup plan. It turns out that there are a bunch of hikeable hills that are within walking distance of the city itself. So I'm just going to do that. Next week I'm going to be in Montenegro, and one of the days I'm there, I'm planning to hike up 2 separate mountains in one day, if not just one. And so I'm thinking of this as like practice for that. So far I'm doing all right. My main concern with walking around on the outskirts of town like this is running into any potentially mean stray dogs, which, I mean, I've had happen before. Haven't seen any dogs yet today, though. Over there in the distance, you can see Mount Dighty. So that's the mountain that Tirana is best known for. And it's the one that I was hoping to hike around today, if it weren't for that cable car problem. So instead, what I'll do, I think I do have enough time on my last day before I fly back, where I might be able to hike there. We'll see. They got some graffiti all the way up here, including that S thing that's everywhere. I've almost made it to the top of this hill, and I can already see the valley on the other side of it. Shout out to the random guy on Reddit who suggested this hike on a thread 2 years ago. He helped out a lot. I've been following these candy canes the whole time, and it looks like they're leading me up this way now. Here is a historical landmark in the middle of the trail. It's called Lapidari. No idea why it's here. That building is inhabited by cows. I found out why that trail was so well marked. Turns out it was used for the Albanian marathon. Also, I slipped a minute ago, but luckily I caught my fall. Here's a fun little fact about Albania for you. Last year, Albania became the first country to appoint an AI program to be part of its government. America is not the only embarrassing country. I was talking with an Albanian dude the other day. He said that because Albania lived for so many years under a communist dictatorship that controlled every aspect of their lives, once that ended, people have not given a shit about the rules. And so people, drive like shit and disobey authority. And I don't know, I think that's kind of cool. Well, that was a nice little 5-mile hike. It was easy enough, but I think it taught me that I need to bring more water. I thought I was good with 1 bottle when I really should have brought 2. So, lesson learned for when I hike up that mountain later on. I just got bullied by a child. I was sitting on a bench and some mean-looking kid saw me, and then like a minute later I felt like a little rock get flicked at my back. Fucking shitty kid. What the fuck did I just stumble on? I gotta check this out. This place just seems to have a picture of the George W. Bush Library. Otherwise, it looks like this. I figured out what was going on with that place. So some guy came up to me and explained that he's trying to build a library there in honor of George W. Bush. And this guy loves George W. Bush because he was the president when Albania joined NATO and when Kosovo gained its independence. And so because of that, this guy has like George W. Bush paintings up everywhere. They only have like a few books there, but it's all George W. Bush books. And the guy who was there was also very friendly, and he thanked me basically for being an American, and then he gave me free tea. So that was very nice. Today the plan is to go about 2.5 hours north of here. I'm going to a town called Shkodër, near the border of Montenegro. I've just arrived at the outskirts of Shkodër, and the bus took a little longer than expected, but thankfully I have some time to check out that castle behind me. This castle is called Rozafa Castle, and I have no idea how old it is. It seems to be about 1,000 years old. And it's located on the intersection of two different rivers. I'm not even that high up, but fuck, look at that view. There are a couple more tourists here than I would have expected. Thought I was going to be the only one here, but there's some people here. Over there's the Buna River, and it flows from Shkodër Lake right over there. And that's the lake that sits on the border between Albania and Montenegro. Yeah, those are the two countries. To be honest, I hadn't even heard of this place until today. It just goes to show that with Europe, you can go pretty much anywhere and stumble upon some really cool shit. One more look at this view before I go into town. People say that Prague is a fairy tale, but I've been to Prague, and in terms of being a fairy tale, this place blows Prague out of the water. Something I ate yesterday made me fart for like 6 hours in a row. So now I'm on the lookout for some food that won't make me do that. I've made it to the center of town. If there's a restaurant that's not going to make me fart, it's going to be around here somewhere. Well, my hotel is right around the corner up ahead. So I'm going to check in and drop my shit off, and then probably do other stuff. Here is a view of the town from my hotel, and over there in the distance is a national park called Theth. And I was thinking about hiking around in there. That was my original plan, but I had read some stuff online basically saying that in May there's still snow that you have to worry about, and that people have died because of that. So instead, I'm not doing that. It's now been a couple hours since I've eaten lunch, and I think I'm in the clear this time. That is the place that I just saw. I don't think I'll get to see that place, though. That looks nice. Well, that does it for this video. Tomorrow I'm going to head over from Albania to Montenegro to continue my adventure through the Balkans. And hey, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for your support. If you want, I can come to your house and tickle you, if that is what you're into. Otherwise, I won't. All right, see ya.